Andrew Jackson's supporters worked to put him first in line for the 1828 election. The public began to learn more about him, and he became labeled Old Hickory by his supporters. Jackson's political beliefs were not easily labeled as either Federalist or Anti-Federalist, although Jackson did support states' rights and initiatives and did not believe in a supreme central government. Jackson also strongly believed that government should be run by the people, with individuals accepting limited terms in office and then returning to the private sector to avoid the corruption that tended to follow career politicians. As these efforts gained momentum and the constituency grew to include less wealthy voters, more emphasis was placed on the common man. Jackson believed in appointing his own staff comprised of his supporters, which also allowed him to eliminate the Adams and Clay supporters from his administration. This system of political back-scratching came to be known as the spoil system and was present on a wide scale at all levels of government. The spoil system had several negative consequences. Often the individuals who were appointed were unskilled at best and incapable at worst of fulfilling the responsibilities of their posts. Furthermore, the spoil system could be abused. Occasionally, corrupt individuals were placed in offices that they ultimately abused, stealing millions of dollars from the government.
The political revolution stirred up by Jackson's alternative staffing methods also resulted in the shift of one-party political system to a two-party system. Those who supported Adams would later become known as the Whig Party, and the Democratic Republicans, who worked to get Jackson elected, who would later shorten their name to the Democratic Party. Along with new political parties came new attitudes. The suffrage movement brought power to the common man, and the common man responded by turning out into droves to vote. Democrats denounced Henry Clay's American system and supported states' rights. Democrats also defended the spoil system as a necessary element of efficient government.
Our years for the timeline were 1828, started in 1828 when Andrew Jackson won the election of 1828. In 1829, Andrew Jackson is inaugurated as the 7th President of the United States. June 1st, the Philadelphia Inquirer is founded as the Pennsylvania Inquirer. July 23rd, William Austin Burt obtains the first patent for a writing mechanism, which was the typewriter. In 1830, the Railroad era begins, the Indian Removal Act, and the Second Great Awakening started.
In 1831, Alexis de Tocqueville visits the U.S. In 1832, in Worcester versus Georgia, the United States Supreme Court held that Cherokee Indians were entitled to federal protection from the actions of state governments. The Black Hawk War begins, and President Andrew Jackson vetoes a bill that would recharter the Second Bank of the United States. Andrew Jackson defeats Henry Clay in the U.S. presidential election, and John C. Calhoun becomes the first vice president of the United States to resign. In 1833, Andrew Jackson is sworn in for a second term as President of the United States, and Andrew Jackson becomes the first president to ride a train. And the nullification crisis happened from 1832 to 1833.
In 1834, the Whig Party is officially named by the United States Senator Henry Clay. Indian trade in the Intercourse Act is renewed in 1834. And in 1835, the Texas Declaration of Independence is first signed at Goliad. And the Great Fire of New York destroys 530 to 700 buildings and kills 2. In 1836, the Battle of the Alamo begins in San Antonio, Texas. And on September 5th, Sam Houston is elected the first president of the Republic of Texas. And then also in 1836, the American Temperance Union was established.
In 1837, the Panic of 1837 happened. New York City banks fail, and unemployment reaches record levels. January 6 of 1838, Samuel Morse first publicly demonstrates the telegraph. January 8, Alfred Vail demonstrates a telegraph using dots and dashes. January 12, Mormonism. Joseph Smith Jr. and Sidney Rigdon flee Ohio for Missouri. January 27th, Abraham Lincoln speaks at the Springfield Young Men's Lyceum. March 8th, the New Orleans Mint strikes its first coinage, 30 dimes. 1839, the Second Seminole War by the people of Seminole. The Boston Morning Post first records the use of OK, and in 1840, Manifest Destiny, telegraph, and railroads create a communications revolution. The end.